Alright, so we just got some interesting stuff a few hours ago. I'm a bit late to this because your boy has been a bit sick lately, but I felt good enough that I could record this. So GELDA has just been added to the files. Some emotes for her has just been added, which usually, I mean, we've been seeing like recently new stuff added to characters that immediately becomes a new unit. Like every time pretty much we see this, the character does end up coming out. Arthur recently was the same thing, it was like, oh, this could be story. I mean, we didn't even have a new story. And does GELDA even show up in the next chapter? I don't know. In any case, I do believe that this should be a brand new GELDA unit, which is nice because we haven't had a new character added to the game since like Tristan, I think. So that's nice because GELDA is one that people have been waiting for like quite some time ever since she showed up in story. Usually, as soon as a character shows up in story, if it's their first time showing up, we do end up getting that character as units, but it wasn't the case for her. It is interesting how the files are called here. Assets, 7 sins, patch resources, character, hero, GELDA. Any, I'm assuming means animation. Story. Then story, agree, angry, back hug, deny. Because if you play story, I guess I can open the game here. You have a lot of these chapters where there's no cutscene, right? It's just the characters talking to each other. I guess if I pull up like this, like any of these random chapters, yeah, the characters talking to each other, and they do like emotes. That's usually emotes that the character themselves do. Like this right here, if I go to Grimoire right now, that would be like, that Grimoire was like SR Grimoire, but that should be any. I would make sure and go to an SR. Yeah. It wasn't the exact emote, but similar. So usually when we get leaks like this, the character like shows up kind of right away. So I wonder if GELDA is the next banner because Arthur just came out, right? And what I was hoping was that the next banner would actually be a character for Arthur. Kind of like how last year, the festival that came out on this slot was Mael. And the character that came out right after Mael was Green Ludocia, which was clearly, you know, made to pair up with Mael. Not the most fantastic character ever, but you know, you can see that that was the purpose of Ludocia in like releasing at a time window. But if GELDA comes out, she's 100% going to be unknown, which I don't mind. Unknown right now is not the best team ever. I think, you know, these three right here as a team, right, is pretty good. Zahard, Hell, and Tyr. But Tyr, I think, drags the team down. Like, you'd think that I would say Zahard drags the team down, but like when you look at Unknown, Tyr isn't really bringing much like these days anymore, right? Like you got the crit resistance level, which is cool, but his damage is only really all that good if he takes damage, and just in general, I would actually rather have Tyr as a link to like a new character than actually using him. It's just, you know, he's kind of old at this point, so it makes sense. But, you know, Unknown with a new character could become meta again. Hell is definitely still very OP, hasn't returned yet. My god. Hell is still very OP, so definitely wouldn't want to replace her. Or even, you know, Albedo instead of Zahard as well. She's also very, very good. Or anyone that hasn't, like, you know, summoned for the collabs. You know, Hell, Tyr, Nanashi, and, like, GELDA. If GELDA is good, because, I mean, they haven't been fumbling characters as much recently. Like, you I think, can you know, have more in the more close to memory characters that they have fumbled, like Glocks. I think like whenever they fumble a character like Glocks, I personally get very, very upset. Because when are we gonna get a new Glocks, right? Probably never. Like, this was the last chance for Glocks to get a unit, and they fumbled him, right? So I really hope they don't fumble GELDA, or they don't fumble her. My brain is not working very good. Yeah, because she's not gonna get another character. After this, she's not gonna get another character. So, it's gonna be a one and done, probably. Some characters do get second versions rather quickly, but usually it's like Ragnarok, like... Freya gets like a... They usually come out like 3 months after. That was interesting. But because nowadays they drop, you know, 1 character every 2 weeks instead of how they used to, which was 2 characters every 2 weeks. You know, you really gotta hope that if it's a character that's not gonna get another version, again like Glocks, they don't fumble it. Because there are characters like, I don't know, DN. Like if they had fumbled, I don't know, Giants. This DN, which, I mean, she's very good, so they haven't, but it's like, okay, we're gonna get a new DN, like, at some point again. So, Sins are ones that, except Gaffer, I guess. Gaffer's a forgotten guy. But Sins are ones that I'm like, okay, well, the new Merlin's not very good, that's fine, you know, we're gonna get new Merlin, like, soon. Probably, you know. And even if we don't, it happens like this, right? Where the festival gets a relic that makes her actually meta. It's like Sins, I don't get too upset if they are not the greatest thing ever at launch. But a character like GELDA, I do not believe we're ever gonna get another version of her. So hopefully she will be meta and she'll slide right into the unknown team. Again, I do hope that Arthur actually gets support. I do think Arthur is really, really powerful, but for a lot of people, if you don't have Yuri, you're probably not going to be able to see like much of Arthur's potential. He kind of relies on having her because humans have not had the greatest character releases, or much of it really. Like you look at humans, and yeah, we had Blue Roxy, but she's kind of old at this point. And they have these collab characters that were not that great, you know? Like Rudy's was not that great. The Attack on Titan characters were not that great. And then other than that, we haven't had much humans really. Like it's just Bot. Bot was like the human release of last year. Then LR Ascanor, sure, but with his terrible passive design. Mainly because his passive design is terrible because we don't get a back in it for humans, right? If we were to get a back in it for humans, the passive design would be so horrible. But in any case, I hope that they actually drop a banner for Arthur next. Or maybe after anniversary or something like that. But GELDA should be next. And then we're gonna be getting, I'm gonna have to assume, a collab at the end of April. So next banner should be in 2 weeks still. Week and a half. Could be GELDA, or it could be a character for Arthur. Well, we're still in March. Okay, well, March is gonna be dead. So there's like lots of nice skips. Then beginning of April, probably not gonna have much. End of April might be a collab, and then we have an anniversary. So lots of stuff to look forward to. Hopefully they do good for her.